This is Lee House 777. Now, ever since the Odin Sun movie came out, the racism is not hiding. This is Fae, and Fae is a fairy word, and this is the rune, but the Fae means prosperity and blessings, abundance. But somebody's taking advantage again of the runes and dishonoring Odin and those Asgardians and the Aesir and the Vanir with this racism. You can check this out yourself. She said that the elves are Weta. If she means Weta as in from the wheat realm of heaven, yes, but she's not. This maiden and her spouse are talking about the skin, and they're talking about a fantasy. And though Tolkien never gave a color of the elves, but let's see the racism towards yourself.
One, you know, or you can say there are no elves of color. So we erase that one, you know. This conversation will never be there. Oh, no, I'm an elf. The next person that comes after me.
Here comes the racial slur.
So we're definitely, that's what it means to me. I always say if you can see it, you can imagine it, and if you can imagine, you can create it.
Even he has the pointy lobes, and elves probably look more like him.
I can only laugh at the ignorance of Ismail. He probably has a poor education, but what he doesn't understand is the fact that the real myth is Tolkien, and it's written in his canon, and it's not about him being a black elf, but elves being white. There, Tolkien myth will remain here for thousands of years, and everyone will know that elves are white. He is just a creation of Dump and Dumper, the two showrunners, and he doesn't even exist in Tolkien book as a character.
And she speaks with a fake accent because somebody from Britannia is not going to pronounce the Spiakings in such a way. This is a Liar who cannot generate, but they're copying and annihilating and ruining, as Tolkien wrote in his book.
Have white elves to respect the canon. His character is not made to last in time. Because to respect the canon, his character is not made to last in time. Because it's not written in the real myth.
And keep in mind that Tolkien never written there was Weta-skinned, pink-skinned mortal elves either. That was Peter Jackson's movies, paid by a supremacist group who financed it. So he added that in and caused this whole upheaval. But between us, I think that they look more beautiful in Peter Jackson's vision of them compared to that animated one where Legos had that short hair. I think he picked very good-looking people to display the qualities of elves, who are not pink-skinned mortals, not Nubians, not from Nubia, Congo, nothing like that. But let's see the more racism that she says. The elves come from the heavens, the stars, the Hodian realm. There would be mahogany skin, and Europeans did not worship stars. And elves means Aleph, which is borrowed from Aleph in German, and that's borrowed from the lesser ones in Israel, who the supremacist groups was against. Jewish. Aleph means star folk, or those who came of the heavens. The Anunnaki, people of the House of On.
True craft. The light elves were very skilled in poetry and the arts, including music. That is why they had a special relation with humans. But they were not humans. Let's not forget that. Also in Edda appears the description of other supernatural beings called dark elves. They were ugly beings, were the enemies of the sun race that could turn them into the stone. That's why they live in the underworld, surrounded by darkness and appear only at night. In the ancient beliefs of our ancestors, the dark elves were described as being darker than the starless dark sky. They only cause trouble, treating people by giving them nightmares and annoy the animals, especially the horses. This evil creatures were known as highly skilled blacksmiths who could create magical weapons and custom armor. As for Tolkien,
she has a picture of Thranduil, and she's talking about Ingwe, but she's talking about Thranduil. And in Tolkien's book, Ingwe is the father of the sovereign of Alvenheim. But she's describing dark elves. So she's calling Thranduil, son of Ofinir, and Ingwe dark elves. But the dark elves are dwarfs from her description. This is someone who doesn't even know the lore of a people that she claimed that she's representing. And my skin, by the way, is not of that nature. And I would know because it's interesting that she's saying this racial stuff because she just called them subhumans. And that's what Hitler's people, the Nazis, called all the other races. They call them subhumans. And she said they're not humans, so do not forget that. But neither are the elves. See, elves aren't human either. But it says here that the elf means Neatmar, not beautiful, not starfolk, by the truest Germanian definition, only causing trouble. Let's see their skin color. By her own. Whenever I said a poor having supernatural beings in Germanic folklore, Old English elf, Mercerian, as in Mercury or Hermes, or Kintash, Aleph, Nuthurian, Yelethfed, means the many of them are the West Saxon, Esprit, fairy, goblin, incubus, from Proto-Germanic, Alibis, source also, Old Saxon Alf, Old Norse Alfred, Ernmine Alp, means Ediville, spirit, goblin, incubus, origin unknown. Alphol, Wheated, possibly Wheated, but there's no truth saying that they're Wheated. But if they are, she's saying that the elves or those who she described are dwarves or they're evil and they're Wheated. Maybe she wants to retract her statement or playing off the ignorante. Do keep in mind that elf doesn't mean Wheated. Pia, as in pixie, means Wheated, not elf. They're also just probably like Orlando's Bloom makeup and Kay the House of Blanchett and the way that Peter Jackson displayed them, which was quite beautiful, I may add. Let's just be honest. The Arwen is Antaria are stroking oneself off material to, and Galadriel. And the one in the background at the coronation of the wedding of Elessar and Arwen. And also the ones when they left towards the Great Council to begin the quest towards, she had blaze mane and flowers on her head, glowing snowy skin, good looking. But behold, evil spirit picks a pai, means Wheated, Albhol, not elf, not Aleph. If the elves weren't black, and what about that kinkai hair? Elflock, hair tangled, especially by Queen Mob. They tangle hair, kinky hair. Elves seem like by her own definition to those people of Armenia, elves were not. They're not Nubian, but they were blackened. Blackened, has a mahogany skin from the heavens. But let's go by her definition. These were constituted as the dwarves or the blazing ones of Gologiab, and they are darkened, hasn't burnt, hasn't followers of Surt or those of Mephistophelion. But even in LOTR, those goblins in the caves were going to be the dwarves, pink-skinned mortals, or there were those goblins, another pink-skinned mortals. You saw the yellow mane, the Azul pupils. it would probably cause she great pain to be made her aware that the Legolas and the Thranduil was modeled after a brown mahogany skin guy, that Sahara the love god. If you look on the pictures on the wall, it was his body frame that they based it off of, with the posing of Tom Ford of the Gucci fame. But it was a brown skin model that they based the actors' movements and looks off of. So much towards that racism theory, huh? These are the races that worship the stars. The Andeans, which is like Iroquois, Shina, Mesopotamians, Central, Azteca, Asia Minor, like Egypt, Iran, Israel, India. But not Europeans did worship the stars. They're not of the star people. They were visited by those of the stars, like the Anunnaki. Even those detested Nubians, or what did she call them? The Black Elves of Svartalfheim, or Nubian lands. They were into the stars, but not Europeans. So they could not be the star folk that Tolkien spoke about. These are the star folk, and they're not from Europa. The Anunnaki, and they were mahogany skin. They're called the Ho. This is the children of the Ilúvatar, some of Anu, nothing of Europa, but of the heavens themselves, Hodians to the lesser ones, or to the Jewish or the Kabbalah, and their sign is a star. I should be aware, because the descendants of Anu will have pointy lobes, mahogany skin has gold, and upon their hands, the Lord of the Stars of Alvenheim will bear this. Look upon my flesh, mortal, for this is no pink-skinned person that you see, no one of the tribes of man, but upon me is the glyph of the stars, engraved within me of the star folk, and I'm flesh and blood. It courses through my veins, and the God essence itself, but I'm no pink-skinned mortal, and I'm against racism. Skin racism, anyway. There's no denying what you see here before you. Even though the movies will make them pink skin and whatnot, they're false. For this is not a pink skin flesh. The star folk, Ilúvatar is head, or the creator, the reshaper. Anu is, or Uranus, Varuna, the source of the Aryans of India. That's the founder of that race of the star folk, those who came by the stars, the Anunnaki. Elves, not the swastika. This was the model of Conan and Cole and the Scorpion Sovereign, Sahara, the love god. And he also was served as the basis for the body modeling, where they based the Thranduil and the Hobbit off of, and Legolas in LOTR.
Silver blossom blow. We have a lot of various figures of elevation speech. A star shines on the hour of our meeting. I name you elf friend, and may the stars shine upon the end of your road. May the stars shine upon your faces. From you and from me, a new star shall arise. A lot of elvish craft is related to the stars. Their jewelry, their gems have shape and bright shine like stars.
And we are aware that there is no jewels that are found in the lands of Germania, Norway, Scandinavia, that glisten and shine as the stars. But there are some in Egypt, the Nubian lands, India, Arabia, turquoise, topaz, clear. There's no adamantium found in Europe, by the way. Starglyph.
And which the elves awoke, Ithilien, can be seen used in the game.
And you can't see this, then that's just pure racism. Or at least they gave me a crown out of it. Or gave him a crown out of it.
And reflects only moonlight and starlight. The elves have a star-shaped flower.
Talk about your race swap.
Star. Tolkien, in many mention, compare his elves to the stars. Elving was born on a night of stars, whose light glittered in the spray of waterfall of Lanthir Lamath, and her stars was in her bright eyes, grey as cloudless night. Look, how easy it is to determine how elves should actually look like, and from where they got the beauty, the shine, when you follow Tolkien books and the canon. Rings of power elves are mundane, have no ethereal look, touch, no glow, no pale glow, and not the wisdom of the cosmos. Let me know what you think about Arondir and the new transaction of the franchise. And of course, the ethereal look of the elves in Rings of Power. Till next time, farewell, my friends. Farewell. Be well.
There's the pale glow. There's the gleam. Looks snow-hued wheated to me.
Like the sun, they are dressed in transparent clothes. They love the light and bring inspiration in art and music. The birthplace.
Interesting, because there was no transparent clothes in Europa in those moments or in their history. It was snowing and cold, wool and animal skins and heaters. So she could not be describing a pink-skinned mortal race, even if it was Caucasian or other weezer. The ones who wore silks and transparent clothes would have been in hot places. And there's mythologies that show that those places was India, China, Egypt. Enjoying the sun's gleam would be in a place where there was a lot of sun. And there's one part that she left out. The elves and the fairies and the Asir and the Vanir came to Europa on a ship. It means they would have been foreign to those lands. And who to this twilight, what kind of people skin tone do you see who wear shiny stuff? Shiny teeth stuff, shiny gold chains, jewels. Use your own sight. Let's see what the actor Viggo Mortensen, who plays Aragorn in the LOTR series, has to say about these racist people, these supremacist groups in the United States who are trying to make LOTR their engine towards racial disunity.
That they see the U.S. government as Saruman, as a threat. Yeah, as a threat, and they're terrified and have been for a long time. And we are not the good guys, unfortunately, in this case. And even though we hear that in a way, and it would just be more than questioning what's going on right now. What the United States is doing is considered treasonous, really. In the two towers, you have
Power.
Whom do you serve?